Hello, welcome to this video on why firms stay small and demergers. So in this video, we're going to look at some of the problems that can arise from businesses growing too big, why some firms might decide to stay small, and the concept of a demerger. So one of the reasons why businesses may not be able to grow too much is as a result of diseconomies of scale. And this is when unit costs begin to rise as the scale of the business rises. So if we have a look at our average cost curve, we have economies of scale where the average cost is falling as output increases. But then we have a period of diseconomies of scale. As we increase output and grow the business further here, average costs are starting to rise. And so we might say the optimum size of the firm is here. And if we've already reached that optimum size, then we won't want to grow the business any further beyond that. So diseconomies of scale means rising unit costs as we grow in size, and that will make the business less competitive. They might have to raise prices and therefore sell less, or they might have to maintain the same price and earn less profit per unit on the products. Why might a business experience diseconomies of scale? Well, there's a number of different reasons. The first one here might be to do with communication. That as the business grows, we have wider spans of control, longer chains of command, and it's harder to communicate within the business. There's maybe too much technology. People can't talk because they're different sides of the world and they have to rely on email and all sorts of things like that. The second one might be coordination and control. If you're a relatively small business, it's quite easy to talk to your suppliers, quite easy to monitor the production process. If you're a very large business, you've grown to a large scale, then if you have parts being manufactured in China and computer chips being manufactured in the Czech Republic, and you've got to coordinate them all, bring them all together to be manufactured in a factory, it can be quite difficult to coordinate all that, control all of that. As a result, things become less efficient and costs start to rise. And the last one is alienation. When you're part of a massive global organization, there's a risk that employees can become demotivated. So for example, I used to work in a large multinational company and this was my ID number. Now there were certain times I would get an email and it would say to me, "Dear," and then this number. How is that going to impact on my motivation? You might know me as a fragile character, and yes, when I receive an email saying "Dear 873376, it's not going to make me want to work hard for that company. As a result, I'm less efficient. The business's unit costs might start to rise. So internal communication might be another issue. And as a business grows, communication becomes more complex and more difficult. And so this might be an issue with growing too big. Overtrading is another issue with growing too big. And that's when a business tries to grow too fast without the resources required to fund the expansion. So businesses might use up their cash too quickly and go insolvent, run out of cash. This is because they do not have enough capital, maybe, enough money to start with. They offer too much trade credit, so allowing customers a delayed time to pay. Or maybe they already operate with slim profit margins. So we've looked at problems arising from growth. Let's look at why some firms might decide to stay small. So why stay small? Might be lots of different reasons. A business might stay small because the managers have an objective of profit satisficing. So there's no incentive to grow the business, sell more to revenue maximize or sales maximize. It might be that they only want to keep control. It might be that they operate in a niche market, a very small market. It might be that they would like to stay small because there's less administration procedures required, or they can offer a personal servant to their clients. So there's a number of reasons why a business might stay small. One of them we touched on here was a small business might be more responsive to the customer needs. There's a closer relationship between the business and the customer. They can offer bespoke products and can respond quicker. Another reason to stay small might be to offer better customer service. It's more personal. They can build longer term relationships because you're not being farmed around lots of different people. People maybe take more pride in the service that's provided, and they can have local or specialist knowledge. Again, some businesses stay small and take advantage of e-commerce. So let's not expand the range of stores we have. Let's sell things online. Why? Because it's cheaper, we can reach a wide audience, we can target niche groups or niche markets and interest groups. And we can also potentially access a global marketplace through selling through things like eBay or Amazon or Etsy. Now let's move on to what a demerger is. A demerger is part of a corporate restructuring. It's when a large business is broken down into smaller component businesses to operate there on their own, or maybe to sell one of those businesses that's being created, or maybe to shut that part of the business down to be liquidated. Demergers are a valuable strategy for companies that want to refocus on their most profitable units, reduce risk, and create greater shareholder value. So a famous example would be the Foster's Drink Company. They were a very large company, and they split their business into the beer division and then the wine division, and operated these as separate businesses, and then sold off one of those businesses. News Corporation is another well-known massive business. They've recently split out Sky from their overall business and demerged that into a standalone business that can then again be sold to someone else. So why do some firms go through a period of demergers? Well, it may be that the firm is experiencing diseconomies of scale, as we mentioned earlier. It might be that the management have lost focus on a core task, and so it's better if they focus on a narrower range of tasks in a smaller business. The business can become more specialized. The demerged firm can focus on its core activities. And maybe there's a lack of synergies where the parts of the firm combined didn't actually create any greater value. And in that situation, there's no advantage of combining them. So in this video, we've looked at problems with growing too big, why firms decide to stay small, what a demerger is, and why we might have the case of demergers. That's it. Over and out.